show business like no business I know. Everything about it is a feeling, everything the traffic will allow. Nowhere can you get that happy feeling when you are stealing an extra bow. There's no people like show, people they smile when they are low. Even with the turkey that you know will go. You may be stranded out in the cold, still you wouldn't trade it for a sack of gold. Let's go on with the show. The costume, the scenery, the makeup, the props, the audience that lifts you when you're down. The heartache, the headache, the backache, the flop, the sheriff who escorts you out of town. The sawdust and the horses and the smell. The towel you've taken from the Knickerbocker Hotel. Aye, the wicked eye is hell. There's no people like show, people they don't run out of dough. When we were kids, they told us we would not go far. Them tops in Eva opened, and there you are. Next day on our dressing room, they hung a star. Let's go on with the show. Let's go on with the show.
Las Vegas, Nevada, one of the few places in the world where vaudeville and music hall
still exist and is still very popular with the public. But it's something that doesn't exist in other cities, and I think it exists here because of the gambling aspect and the casinos and the sort of bigger-than-life make-believe glamour that is created here in Las Vegas by these super hotels, that each one in it tries to outdo the other and becoming more garish and more pretentious, and it's all sort of make-believe.
The traditions of music hall were of crucial importance in the development of popular music. I was weaned on music hall. My father used to play in theaters where the orchestra would provide an instant soundtrack for the silent movies. And in between the film presentations, they always had a vaudeville show.
Aren't you glad you came?
So many great stars have come out of music hall. Bob Hope, Judy Garland, Al Jolson, Mae West, Eddie Cantor, that it's sometimes difficult to remember it had disreputable origins, often illegal, and never socially respectable.
Well, any theater you go into can be a vaudeville theater. If there's room enough for an orchestra and it has a stage, it's a vaudeville theater. You make any theater a vaudeville theater. There's some in New York, some in Chicago, some in Milwaukee. There might have been a few thousand vaudeville houses in the different chains.
Mais où vont-ils donc, les hommes, quand ils s'en vont? Le saura-t-on jamais quand ils nous abandonnent? Ils sont bien quelque part sur le quai, une gare dans un café anglais, un hôtel espagnol.
It was a regular theater, except that each act was an entity by itself. There'd be a dramatic act, there'd be a juggler, and then there'd be perhaps a great vocalist, then there'd be a magician, then there'd be an animal act. There'd be sometimes as many as 12, 14 acts. Each was called an act. It had nothing to do with the preceding act or the succeeding act.
Oh,
It stood on its own
No,
and had to do well, or else they couldn't get booking.
Beams around all this rising damp, better than this bleeding place.
But music hall, as a term, means what it says. A hall, originally a drinking room at the back of a tavern in which music was performed. The act has to compete against the drinking. From this atmosphere came numerous offspring: variety, vaudeville, burlesque, and music hall. But all those descriptions mean more or less the same thing. They had in common that they were the very first presentation of popular song by popular singers for financial gain. The shows took place wherever there was an audience, in pubs, in horse stables, even in tents.
Is that elegant or is that elegant? Elegant.
I've got the face of a saint. On the level it ain't paint. Beware of these eyes. I'm a devil in disguise. And they call me Sister Honky Tonk. Get over dirty. They call me Sister Honky Tonk.
I gotta slam now. Making myself clear, boys? Suckers.
The tradition was originally English and began in the 18th century at places like Sadler Wells in North London, which is now an opera house. The British Parliament disapproved and passed an act in 1751 forbidding these entertainments without a magistrate's license. But the profits from drink and entertainment together proved so large that the number of these music halls grew steadily. And by 1852, Charles Morton, known as the father of the halls, opened up the first legitimate music hall behind the Canterbury Arms in Lambeth.
We to fall like this, big eyes that see down at the old bullet bush.
All the entertainment which these halls provided had certain themes in common, of which the most popular was drinking. Since the performer had to fight against the customer's obsession with booze, why not sing about it? Most famous of the drinking song brigade was George Leyburn. He worked his way through an entire wine list.
Oh, Champagne Charlie is my name.
Others sang about the drinking houses themselves. This famous English melody is set to the tune of a German drinking song, which was actually written by an American. Leyburn also discovered the advantages and the cost of an image. His contract stated that he had to be provided with suitable clothes and a carriage and four at all times.
Oh, and I gotta tell you, so many people here have asked me whether this is my piano, and I'm rather proud to say it is. There are only two in the whole world like it. Thank you very much. And I got both of them. Now, this boogie woogie I've been playing for you is a kind that is known as boogie woogie 8 to the bar. Here's a little invention of my own. Boogie woogie 16 to the bar. You know I love clothes. These are some of my street clothes. And the reason I love so many clothes is because I guess when I was a kid, I had to wear my brother George's hand-me-downs. Now that I can afford to buy my own, I have them in about 3 sizes because I love to eat and my weight constantly fluctuates. So most of my suits come in 3 sizes: thin, fat, and impossible. And I have them in a see-through wardrobe with sliding glass doors. I should say squeaky sliding glass doors. I have here in this home about 200 suits, 400 sports shirts and slacks, and about 100 pairs of shoes. And believe it or not, I wear them all. I don't blame you for laughing, you know. Sometimes I look at all this stuff and I can hardly believe it myself. Oh, well. My clothes may look funny, but they're making me the money. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, wait, I gotta tell you. Remember that bank I used to cry all the way to? I bought it. I love it, I tell you. I kind of like this place. We'll see. Okay, this is for the newlyweds, who incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, are a most unusual couple. I understand it's the second time around for both of them. She's 65 and he's 71, and they've requested a very beautiful song. It's impossible.
The next important theme was empire and a belief in the imperial destiny. English, American, or whatever. It didn't seem to matter much.
Any tune like Yankee Doodle simply sets me off my noodle. It's that patriotic something that no one can understand. I'm a cranky, hanky-panky. I'm a dead square, honest Yankee. And I'm mighty proud of that old flag that flies for Uncle Sam. Now, I don't believe in raving, but every time I see it waving, there's a chill runs up my back that makes me glad I'm what I am.
Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Red, white, and blue. I am for you. Honest, you're a grand old flag.
You're a grand old flag. You're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you reign. You're the anthem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue, and there's never a boast or brag. Don't you know the great John Speed forgot? Keep your eye on that grand old flag.
My mother always said to me, beware the man who wanders. He'll never be home, forever he'll roam. The traveler always wanders. So I began to concentrate on college boys, clerks, and tailors. Then the fleet flew in, and now I begin to see what the girls like about sailors.
Wherever we go, we stop by home, but never really fall. We meet, only the Timbuktu. But we take our bag and no one can say the fleet. Now, to you.
Now this Jack from the flagship, and I give you this tip as a sweetie. Ooh, that boy's so wild. And to the Wyoming, my thoughts go a-roaming. His name's Bill, and I feel thrilled now. Now there's Jim from Chicago, off the old Colorado. Also George from the Utah, but I can't put a label on the shore. That I have ships or ships that I have missed, but I'm through to the Navy now.
After drink and empire, the most popular subject of music halls was nostalgia for a home left long ago to seek work in strange places. Some performers even made a fortune trading on the characteristics of their home country for the benefit of expatriates around the world. Harry Lauder, for instance, sang incomprehensible Scottish songs for the benefit of Scots in Africa.
For favour he's contented, I'm feeling quite contented. I've went and sealed the bargain with a kiss. And I'm sitting weary when I think about my dearie, and you'll always hear me singing this. I love a lassie, a bonny lassie, she's as pure as the lily in the dell.
In fact, few people thought this kind of entertainment was proper.
My great-grandfather had a vaudeville house as well as his opera house. He made money in the vaudeville house, and he would come to the vaudeville house and empty the drawers to go over to the opera house to pay off the opera singers, because opera didn't then, any more than it does today, make money. But in spite of the fact that he ran a vaudeville house, and ran it a little bit unethically from time to time, was nevertheless a man of great moral virtue. He would never allow his wife to come to the vaudeville house. He would never have any theater people at home to entertain them. He felt that that was a part of his life, that he made money, and he must have enjoyed doing it because he did it so well, but he separated it.
I'm Bert. Perhaps you've heard of me, Bert.
Yet there were many aspects of this new variety which made vaudeville socially intriguing. There was, for instance, a growing cult of the male impersonator, the most glamorous of whom was a British star, Vesta Tilley.
All the whiskers and fluff. Stick my hat on and come.
She fascinated both men and women.
I'm Burlington Bert. I rise at 10:30 and sauntered along like a top.
In fact, male impersonation came from a long tradition of English pantomime, and some of the stars spent so much time perfecting their costume that it was they, rather than any of their male theatrical contemporaries, who set the standard for the well-dressed man about town.
I'm Burlington Bert. I rise at 10:30, then Buckingham Palace I view. I stand in the yard while they're changing the guard. The king shouts across toodaloo. The Prince of Wales' brother, along with some other, slaps me on the back and says, come and see mother. I'm Bert. Bert, royalty's hurt. When they ask me to dine, I say no. I've just had a banana with Lady Diana. I'm Burlington Bert.
And then there were the female impersonators. Again, there was a long tradition, in England especially, going back to Shakespeare.
4 years a fairy queen I've been. 4 years I foiled the demon king. But alas, I'm getting on, the years have flown somehow, and I feel that Fairy Snowdrop isn't wanted now. Nobody loves a fairy when she's 40. Nobody loves a fairy when she's old. Though she may have a magic power, that is not enough. They like their bit of magic from a younger bit of stuff. When once your silver star has lost its glitter, and your tinsel looks like rust instead of gold, your fairy days are ending. Once your wand has started bending. No one loves a fairy when she's old.
But then, of course, it was very chic for darlings to wear it. We get a musical called My Darling. And of course, when Darling went, they were just the same as a clock cast, because it's a sort of marvelous thing. It gets everybody at it. So the Dowager Duchess becomes Mrs. Mott, really, when they sit together. Because people really are, they're really all the same. They just sound different.
My sister Sue was always such a silly little loon. She never really understood the proper way to spoon. A young man asked her recently to sit upon his knee. When she at last consented, she behaved so bashfully, 'cause she'd never been there before.
I can walk straight out and talk to Mrs. Jones on the front row and say, "Oh, you look all right, darling, you're enjoying yourself." And she'd say, "Yes, Dan, you don't mind me talking to you for a minute." Say, "Oh, no, it's all right." And we can chat. You can jump out into the people, and it's marvellous. And they were regular. Every week there used to be the butcher and his wife on the first 2 seats, same seats every week, and it was quite fascinating. Musical, of course, was a family of audience and artists. You got to know people as you travelled round.
Oh, what a beauty. Never seen one as big as that before. Oh, what a beauty. It must be 2 foot long or maybe more. It's such a lovely color, nice and round and fat. I've never seen a mirror quite as big as that. Whoa, what a beauty. I've never seen one as big as that before.
There's always a very closeness, a bond between audience and artist. The audience make immediate contact with you. You are them. You're saying what they'd love to say.
It must be 2 foot long or maybe more. Such a lovely color, nice and round and fat. I've never seen a mirror quite as big as that. Whoa, what a beauty. I've never seen one as big as that before. Never seen one as big as that before.
Audiences came to identify with their favorite singers, just as singers had become identified with their most popular song.
I wonder who's teaching aloud. I wonder who's looking into her eyes, breathing sighs, telling lies. I wonder who's buying the wine for the lips that I used to call mine. Why, I just wonder if she ever tells him of me. I wonder who's kissing her now.
Tiptoe to the window, by the window, that is where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me. Yes, tiptoe from your pillow to the shadow of a willow tree, and tiptoe through the tulips with me. Knee deep in flowers we'll stray. We'll keep the showers away, and if I kiss you in the garden, in the moonlight, will you pardon me? Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
Later on, this tradition reached the climax with Edith Piaf. You knew she had suffered and you identified with it. She had been abandoned as a baby, blinded as a child. Her first lover had been murdered. She was involved with the resistance in World War II. She'd taken drugs and alcohol in great quantities, and all of this you heard in her voice and in her songs, and you loved her because of it.
Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. Ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien. Non.
Was a monster, a But when I say monster, that means the same thing in English and in French. We say monster when somebody's doing more than something. She was singing like a monster. She was living like a monster. Eating, drinking, loving, friendship as a monster.
Venez, Milo, vous asseoir à ma table. Il fait si froid.
Arrêtez le massacre. Oh non, je vous assure que cette chanson est très belle. C'est une chanson dramatique et ça n'a aucun rapport avec ce qu'ils viennent de faire. Malheureusement, je ne peux pas chanter, mais je crois que tout de même, je vais trouver les forces nécessaires pour réhabiliter cette chanson. Je vais chanter un refrain, je vais essayer. J'espère pouvoir y arriver. Veux-tu m'accompagner?
Oui.
Allez, venez, Milord, vous asseoir à ma table. Il fait si froid dehors. Ici, c'est confortable. Laissez-vous faire, Milord, et prenez bien vos aises. Vos peines sur mon cœur.
Piaf could sing, the telephone book would be the same for the public. But it was a sort of curiosity to see how much a woman can hold a sadness. She was always saying, have you found a new way to die? Because she had that complex to have a song with a new manner of dying. So she had from the fire, the water, automobile crash, and I don't know, the gas, the electricity. And it was very hard to find a new way to die.
Loin de moi, ça m'apporte si tu m'aimes, car moi je mourrai aussi. Nous aurons pour nous l'éternité dans le bleu. L'immensité dans le ciel, plus de problèmes, mon amour, crois-tu qu'on
But music hall had come of age, however, thanks to an unexpected encounter. It was King George V who decided that for his coronation festivities, he would have not just the usual command galas at Covent Garden, but a royal variety show which was finally held at the London Palace Theatre on July 1st, 1912.
Worry if your happy tells you all the wonderful things that he says for you to do. Don't stop crying. If you do, you are a threat. Grab him by the whisker, swing him round the room and say, did you pass, wise heaven?
Well, it's a great big shame, and if she belonged to me, I'd let her know her nagging at a fella what is 6'3", and her only 4'2". Hadn't been married not a month nor more, when underneath her thumb goes Jim. How isn't it a pity as the likes of her should part upon the likes of him?
All the major stars of the day were included.
Have you been there? You know
With just one exception, Marie Lloyd. She was left out because she was thought too vulgar for the royal taste.
And every little movement has a meaning of its own. Every little movement tells a tale. When she walks down Piccadilly, a voice behind her love, all her bits are frilly. When she glides along a bit, the John is following her trail. But if she turns her head like so, something doing, don't you know? Every little movement tells a tale.
In fact, the management who organized the royal show could not bear to be reminded of Vaudeville's seedy origins. And Marie Lloyd, when she sang, she emphasized her words with hefty nudges, winks, and grins.
They utter, but when midnight shines, then her heart begins to flutter and she yawns like this, and stretches out her arms to frail. Then the hubby, full of love, looks at her and points above. Every little movement tells a tale.
I want to hear you loud and clear. Professor, we are going to sing My Sister Lily Was a Whore in Piccadilly. 'Twasn't the grass that tickled... Sorry.
So the working class went because the entertainment was cheap and because they could understand it. The middle class went because they never want to be left out of anything. And the rich went to have a good laugh at everyone else. All in all, music hall proved irresistible. In America, although there was no comparable tradition of drinking houses with entertainment as in Britain, there was the same need for spontaneous backstreet entertainment. Apart from itinerant players, the first such entertainers to organize themselves had been the white nigger minstrel.
The sun will shine, all the bells will ring, and all the birds will sing when I marry Luciana, Lulu, when I marry Luciana, Lulu.
Pretty soon, every town, and particularly every frontier town, built its variety theater to house all manner of acts. And in America, the tradition became known not as music hall, but as vaudeville. The more unruly and risque elements became known as burlesque.
My first real contact with burlesque happened because when I decided to make a film for Paramount, my very first, I had this book called Applause, and the whole background of it were from burlesque. So I went to the burlesque theaters, to every one that existed in New York. And my first reaction was, to hell with it. It's just too awful. I don't want to touch this. It's sordid. And a great deal of it was sordid. The sordid part of it was the striptease routine. which in itself was really very innocent compared to what we have now. It was child's play. But they called the detached attitude of the girls and the voracious hunger of men, those poor frustrated men sitting out front, you know, and just eating them up and whooping it up. And it was really beastly. It was like meat on exhibit. But now and then a pearl in a stack of garbage. And so I thought, no, I'm not interested. And I said, well, why not? I'd like to make a commentary on how horrid this thing is. So I did a film, Applause.
Burlesque had always received an endless supply of new songs because Tin Pan Alley had used the vaudeville circuit to promote its latest products. But by the 1920s, vaudeville was facing increasing competition from new inventions. The phonograph record and radio could and did promote songs faster and more effectively than vaudeville.
Dark, and you make what I call it a pet. It's a lipstick here, it's a lipstick there. You don't get it from me to spaghetti. Oh, you say goodnight about a...
The music hall tradition had to rely more and more on gimmicks and vulgarity to keep it going. Of course, it was still a wonderful training ground for stars who became famous in other media, like Bob Hope, Eddie Cantor, and Rudy Vallee, even Marlene Dietrich.
You won't give a damn what you do. Sometimes put me under a sort of voodoo, and the whole night long I don't know the right from wrong. Hot voodoo, black as mud, hot voodoo in my blood. That African taboo has made me a turn. Hot voodoo, dance of sin, hot voodoo, worse than sin. I follow a caveman right into his head. That beat gives me a wicked thundershock. My conscience wants to take a vacation. Got voodoo, head to toes, hot voodoo, burn my clothes. I want to stop dancing.
But there was another element which took away vaudeville's audience.
Talking pictures. Didn't stand a chance. Here they were turning out the entertainment wholesale, making a print, making many prints of the picture they did, and it's a new medium. Just killed vaudeville. Too bad, too, because vaudeville was a great training ground. Of course, there were many poor vaudeville shows. Vaudeville helped kill itself, too. But it was the onward march of technology, you know.
Vaudeville was no longer the important place to promote the new popular song. Once the lifeblood of Tin Pan Alley, it was now little more than a sideshow. Gradually, the theaters closed. New York's Gotham Theater was closed in 1937 by Mayor LaGuardia for putting on striptease. In London, the Windmill Theater, which once boasted "We never closed," closed in 1966. It was left to Hollywood to use up many of the ideas and most of the performers from vaudeville, creating a fantasy world that was pure Hollywood and yet pure music hall. Everyone is striving to make it a little bigger than the last one and a little more bizarre. And I think that's what entertainment is really all about. It makes people forget their daily lives and it has to be a sort of make-believe to make them forget, and larger than life. And these shows are so extravagant and so colorful, and performers like myself are finding it. You have to compete now. You have to make each show better than the last one. You can't just do the same show over and over, because people are looking for surprises each time.
Yeah, the watch is underneath the diamonds. In case you have to tell the time, you press 2 diamonds, the lid opens up, see? Yeah, it keeps very good time. It's about 20 rubies to 11 diamonds. Yeah. Let me show the young man here. See what you get if you practice?
The first time I came out in a carriage, the carriage was a surprise. The next time I had the carriage, I used horses to bring it out. The first time I came out in a Rolls-Royce limousine, that was a surprise. But now the Rolls-Royce limousine is studded with jewels. It's always a step further, you know.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through. If you
Despite all the theaters which closed, the traditions of music hall were to be of crucial importance in the development of popular music. Rock and roll, for instance, would not have been the same without British music hall. And music hall contained all the elements which eventually became the musical. These traditions were kept alive, however, by individual performers. Judy Garland, for instance. She was feminine and yet masculine. Toward the end of her life, she often sang in drinking clubs and gambling saloons, like the earlier music hall performers. Almost, she conducted a seance in loving memory of a tradition which had sustained her, yet which finally destroyed her.
Light up your face with gladness. Hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.